are live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in for this collaborative live stream between Rice Crypto, Rice TVX, and I Love Crypto, Crypto Blood. Today we are joined by 20-plus year veteran trader, Mr. Gareth Soloway. We have links down below for his YouTube channel, his socials, our socials. We are streaming on both of our YouTube channels, both of our X accounts, and my Rumble. We have links down below for each other's channel. Let's go ahead and begin today's show. We got a few quick sponsored messages before we begin. And let me go ahead and get this out of the way.
This episode is brought to you by FairDesk, a crypto derivatives trading platform founded by 6 former Binance execs and 3 former Morgan Stanley architects. FairDesk is a company focused on building a platform that enables traders to profit from both rising and falling markets. Sign up today and CB will credit you up to $600 in trading funds. For more information, visit fairdesk.com, link in the description below.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're smashing that like button. We have information for the sponsors in our video description. And real quick, before we begin, I just want to encourage you guys, if you have not already, get your tickets for Bitcoin 2024. The actual industry passes and whale passes are going to be increasing in price this coming Friday. If you use my affiliate link down below in the video description, and you also use the discount code or the discount code RICE at checkout, you'll get 10% off on your ticket. I'm going to be there. I believe Blood's going to be there. Hopefully Gareth's going to be there. But join us at Bitcoin 2024. Again, the prices for industry and whale passes increase Friday. You get 10% off with discount code RICE. What's going on, gentlemen?
Hey.
It's good seeing you guys.
Good seeing you guys.
Finally, Rice. Thank you for putting me, the chocolate guy, in the middle. I appreciate that. We got a little.
Oh, reverse
sandwich.
Oreo. Yeah, because it's usually the other way around. I'm usually the cream in the middle. So
yes, you are.
This is nice for once. So
yes, I'm excited, bro. We've got Gareth on. I don't know when the last time you had Gareth on. It's been a year and 1 month. I just checked. So
it's been about 9 months. So October.
Okay.
He's become a celebrity. He's become very busy, and it's down in Florida, and it's sunny, and life's good for Gareth. So we
live right next to Cardone. You know, things are looking great for him.
Oh, yeah, it's ups and downs. The market, just like the market, it's ups and downs.
Yes.
Well, again, man, I really do appreciate you taking the time to join us. If you guys are watching over on the X side, please smash that like button, repost if you're watching on my side or Blood side. Make sure you're following all of us. We have links for each other's socials down below in the video description. And we'll give a time, because I noticed that you've changed everything up since I've had you on with verified investing. It's not verified investing crypto. There's no in the money stocks. And I guess we can kind of wrap that up with the bow towards the end of the video. But I have to ask a question. Considering where we are in the market, all the talk of the different price predictions you made right now, are you bullish or are you bearish?
Gareth, oh man.
So this is the way I am, right? So based on very short-term technicals, you're at support on Bitcoin right here. We'll look at my chart, I'm sure, in just a minute or two. So you probably get a short-term bounce. Then I think you actually have more downside to go down to about 57,000 than maybe 50. But if you ask me where we are in 6 months or 12 months, I think we're at all-time highs. So it's just, listen, I'm a trader by heart, so I'm in and out very quickly, days, if not weeks, in and out. But ultimately, Bitcoin's going higher, and that's always, even when I've been called bearish and all that stuff, I've always maintained that my long term has been like, dude, this is the digital gold. This is where you want to be. The government's not changing their stripes, right? I mean, they're going to print money until we all, die. So we got to be ready for it. And there's gold and there's Bitcoin. There's really not much else.
Yeah,
100% agreed.
I want to touch on Mount Gox. I want to touch on
share that with you real quick, my friend.
Yeah,
I made that for you. I thought you would enjoy it.
Round of applause. So when we get into the nitty gritty, I do want to touch on like the Mount Gox supply that's going to be hitting here in July. I want to talk about Germany selling. There are some things I think from a bearish perspective that will weigh on the price of Bitcoin. And also we got these hikes or not hikes, but rate cuts or lack thereof. We got to definitely talk about that, because at the beginning of the year, Gareth, we've had 7 or 6 predictions of a cut from the Fed.
Yeah, so the Fed, everyone was assuming it was going to be 6 cuts at the start of this year, and now it's down to maybe one. And to be clear, that's not a prediction I made. I was always in the camp that, and even when I was on your shows a long time ago, I said, listen, inflation's going to come to 3%, but it's like getting that 6-pack. At least that's my experience, right? It's like I can get in really good shape, but to get the 6-pack to actually show is the hardest thing to do. And that's what it is. It's to get inflation from 3 to 2% is the hardest thing to do, and we haven't been able to do it.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna have to forgive me for saying Gareth, man, because listen, I was trying to defend you for so long. When we're heading towards all-time highs, I'm like, look, my guy Gareth is a good trader. I've had him on numerous times on my show. I'm a trader. He's a trader. I know good traders when I see him. I was just like, man, this guy he's got balls of steel. Like, he is shorting into this rally. We hit all-time highs. I'm now in your, like, I seriously, because of the decoupling from the equities, seen a decoupling here. I'm in your camp now, man. I think we had lower. I'm a little concerned, but I'll give it over to Rice and we'll get into that.
And just let me interject real quick there. I think it's important to recognize when we were at 65 to 69, I said 20, right? We got to 20. I said, listen, if the stock market collapses, we're going to 9 or 10. Stock market, I think we can all agree the stock market never collapsed. And so it just, when you have that much money being created, there's a lot of money that can be taken out and put into crypto and Bitcoin. And then when we got above 30, that was a key break point. Now, along the way, I certainly shorted, but I made money on every time. So when I was shorting at 50, we got to pull back the 49K high on the spot ETF. We pulled back 20%. And so I just want everyone to understand is that, essentially I'm able to be in and out quickly. You have to notice the long-term call, which remains bullish versus the shorter-term trades.
So are you weighted short right now on Bitcoin, or are you more weighted long?
I have a small hodl position that I bought when it was in the 17s that I continue to hold, and I'm trying to just say, don't touch it, just leave it be, because that long-term bias. But right now I have a short position on a swing trade, which is a shorter term trade to the downside, and so far so good. I do think, again, we probably test 56.5, 57, and maybe even 50,000. And then can I show my charts? You guys cool with that?
Of course.
Yeah. And what kind of time frame are you looking at for that target that you're talking about, that 50 to 57 ish time, that time frame for those? I'm curious about that, because I'm thinking that the sell in May, walk away got delayed, and because May seemed to be just a good month, and it seemed to be hard for people to walk away from that type of action, but it seemed to bleed through into June and July, not necessarily kind of middle of June into July. So I'm wondering if by, let's say, August, as we get closer to the election time period, where they're going to be trying to do every virtue signaling they can to make it look like the economy is improving, I see a lot of upward action at that point. A mutual friend of Blood and ours, who we've had on the show, Waters Above, who incorporates astrology, numerology, gematria, and things like that.
I love that.
He's calling for a top coming towards the end of 2024. And I'd love to introduce you to him. It'd be really interesting to have a conversation with all four of us. That would be
dope.
Yeah, by the way, I'm a big believer in the solar cycles and
we got
the lunar cycles and all
that.
You
have to.
We have to.
Yeah, you're definitely going to enjoy it. And I'll send you a link privately to Waters' channel, so if you want to check some of his stuff out. But definitely an interesting, and he combines technical analysis with it as well. So
before you show this chart, Gareth, why do you think we've seen the decoupling or divergence from the S&P and cryptos?
So first, I'm not 100% sure that we've fully seen the decoupling. So I want to be clear on that. And the reason I say that is that historically, if you go back to the 2021 high in Bitcoin, it was put in at the beginning of November, and the stock market didn't top out until mid to late December. So there was about a 2-month lag there. And what we've seen here is, if we go back, it's been about 2+ months since that high, and now we're starting to see the rollover in Bitcoin. And really, the S&P, you could argue, really, has it really been an S&P that's been wide ranging, or has it just been Nvidia keeping up the entire
the breath
market?
has been very tight. Yeah,
So that's
breath
the
has been very
question.
tight.
If you subtracted Nvidia out, would the S&P already be down 5% off of its all-time highs and kind of going
Very
with
good
Bitcoin
point
here? So,
Well,
so
I mean,
I
we've
think
seen some
it's
downward
time will tell
action.
us.
Very good point.
We've seen some downward action the past couple of days in the stock market, and it seemed like Nvidia was kind of leading that downward.
Yeah,
turn.
because the
So
breath is so there's no breath, as he just stated. It's like 4 or 5 stocks that's pushing this
It's
whole
crazy,
thing up,
man. I mean,
insane.
Yeah, there's never been a historical point in this country where so few stocks have controlled so much of the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. I mean, even in the dot-com era, it was a much greater group. It was still very concentrated, but it was a much greater concentration of different stocks. So this is really kind of crazy, and it's very risky. I mean, if one thing happens to one or two of these stocks, this market goes down and goes down fast.
How has that happened? Is it like market structure wise? What happened? Because I was watching some interviews on Blockworks about this, and they were hypothesizing about market structure changes that have happened and how it happened and what's to come from here. Like, is this the end? Are we at the end where everything just kind of concentrates right into 4 or 5 stocks and it's just like nowhere to go?
Well, the banks are consolidating, so it's I can see a consolidation of the stock market, including the banks. Everything's consolidating down to the few.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of worried about is that when you get to a point where there's just a few leaders, all the money is pushed in there, and all that has to happen is one thing kind of changes. Let's say just the growth rate of Nvidia stalls. Not even that it goes into a negative growth. It's just, let's say it slows down. If everyone runs for the exits at the same time, it literally can trigger a impact that causes a crash in the markets. And again, they have circuit breakers now and all these fancy things that are supposed to protect against it. But it is a concern when you have that much focus on these stocks. And just to be clear, what ends up happening is when you have these index funds, right, and everyone's in these index funds, right, the S&P, the NASDAQ, every time someone puts $1 into an index fund, literally 33 cents of every dollar are going into about 6 stocks. And so what it does is it makes those stocks even bigger. And then the next person that puts $1 in, 34 cents goes in. And so it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy on the way up that these stocks get bigger and bigger and bigger because of these index funds. The negative, again, is at some point everything unwinds, right? And then that's scary.
So let's take a look at that chart, Gareth. I think
I got. He has already shared it. Let me just get it pulled back up.
There we go. All right, so
I want to go full screen so everybody can see this.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, so let's actually just get rid of everything here. I want to start from the scratch here. So basically, this is where I turned bearish on Bitcoin, is that I had this trend line, and you can see it really was a great uptrend since essentially the low after. This was where we had the spot ETF approval. This was the 20% correction, and then from that point, we went pretty much vertical nonstop to 74,000 or just shy of 74. And then we pulled back and we had another attempt at making a new high, another one, and it kept on failing. In fact, we made slightly lower lows each time. And once this broke, that's really where you could see the cascade effect coming down. And now when we look at the charts here, we have a couple trend lines. So one of them that I've been watching is this one right through here. And this is kind of that general vicinity where you kind of fell into support. In fact, you have 2 areas right here where both of these create the current support that we're right into, right? We had multiple levels. We had a chart that basically was going straight down, which creates an oversold scenario. So you're getting a little bit of a bounce right now. Now, the issue is that we've now broken this bigger uptrend, the yellow line. And so even if we bounce back to that yellow line, that creates resistance. And the likelihood is that we'll probably head back down. So let's just say we go here. The idea is your next leg down takes you down here, and I'll show you where that next level of support is. This is a big one for me right here. So we have this 52 and then all the way to the previous high around 49. And so again, there's a little stopping point at 56 to 57. There's another trend line there. But in reality, if you're asking me where I think this goes, I think it goes right in this zone. Remember, and Blood, I know you've been a trader before and you're a trader, but we know that previous resistance levels become supports, right? So the previous pivot high from the spot ETF approval really should be significant support, as that was the catalyst for the first correction. And now we're getting that next correction. So for me, that kind of creates we're going to bounce at these levels. In fact, I'll even go long at a couple of them for trading opportunities, but net midterm to short term, look for further downside until at least we get around 50. And then I start loading up.
Bryce, I'm like 100% agreeing with them on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm feeling the same way. I mean, I've been kind of watching the markets, and I mean, I've been thinking that we're just overheated with everything in general, and summer times are not generally complementary to the markets in general. Crypto is not an exception with when it comes to that. So I wasn't expecting summertime to be like hurrah, hitting more all-time highs. That's why I was mentioning the August time period, because August 21st, I think. Well, I guess that still would be summer, but the tail end of summer when everybody's kind of going back to school, vacations are over, all that kind of stuff. Regular public school, college.
Give us a scenario, Gareth, of the Fed not pausing or continue the pause, and give us a scenario for Bitcoin in the crypto markets if the Fed decides to reduce rates. What does that look like, both those scenarios?
So first, I think the scenario of them starting to cut rates is a real scenario. I do expect at least one rate cut this year, but we should look at history as our guide, and that's again the best scenario where when the Fed actually starts cutting rates is when the markets actually start to get worse. So I know that sounds crazy to people, but if you look at past scenarios, it does. It's the hype of them cutting that drives the market up. Once they actually cut, things have gotten so bad that people worry that the Fed is behind the curve now. They're behind the 8-ball, and they're not cutting fast enough. And essentially, that's where people start to panic because the economy is slowing significantly. So I just want to make that clear is that, this is where once we get the cuts, it's actually historically where we start to see the market really starting to fall much, much more. Now, one other thing, just to let me mention, as long as I have this chart up, just so people don't say, oh, Gareth was bearish, blah, 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 when this is 100,000. Let's make this clear. See this area right up here. If we recapture this zone, which is around 69 to 70,000, then you flip bullish, right? That would be a breakout of this downsloping line and a recapture of this upsloping line. So as a trader, you always want to have, okay, well, I'm bearish right now, but if this happens, it flips it around to bullish. And that's important for people to understand.
Gotcha.
Okay,
so give me a scenario where they don't decrease rates.
Well, real quick before we go into because this is what I want to ask you while we're staying on the rate thing is the as far as the next FOMC meetings, we have the 31st, which is the end of next month, 31st of July, September 18th, November 7th after the election. So if they're going to do it and they're going to do it positively for the election purpose, it's going to have to be July or September. Are you anticipating one or the other? Because right now it's looking like basically people are kind of calling for more of a September.
Yeah, I think I'm probably leaning towards September. We get the PCE data on Friday morning, so I think that'll give us a little bit more insight. But right now, I think September. Part of the issue, too, is that all these other countries around the U.S. are starting to cut. And that's going to put pressure on the U.S. to cut, essentially, to kind of keep pace with these other countries. And by the way, one of the things that no one's talking about is the dollar yen. And I don't know, you guys may have been talking about this, but to me, this is really a big deal. So we know that the U.S. has warned Japan not to intervene again. And I say again because right here they intervened. Correct. And that's why the dollar yen fell. But what we saw is a breakout now above that previous high on the dollar yen. And the U.S. just labeled Japan a potential currency manipulator. And so they didn't
oh, you got to be kidding.
No,
you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. So they didn't go as far as saying they are a currency manipulator, but essentially it was a warning saying, guys, we don't want Japan or the U.S. saying to Japan, don't intervene in your currency markets. Now, why? Why doesn't the U.S. want them to intervene? Because the Japan has to sell dollars and sell U.S. debt to prop up their currency.
Right.
And what that does is when you dump debt on the open market, it pushes interest rates up artificially that the Fed doesn't necessarily want. Like the Fed does not want to see a catastrophe where all of a sudden interest rates shoot up to 7%, right? I mean, that would be hugely negative for our financial markets. And so keep an eye on this dollar yen. This as it goes higher, the Japanese, honestly, I think will have to intervene at some point, and that could be a whole new can of worms.
Yikes. So a interest rate cut would not do much for us because the interest rates here would skyrocket, right?
Yeah, and I think that's an important point is like as long as things are semi-normal in the US, the Fed has control of interest rates. But if things really get out of whack, the market as a whole sets interest rates, because you can't force China and Japan and these other countries to buy our debt, right? I mean, if they're like, hey, I'm not accepting anything less than a 10%, interest rate on your debt, we have to give them that 10%, right? I mean, it's either that or we blow up, we file for bankruptcy as a country. And so yes, in normal conditions, the Fed kind of dictates interest rate policy, but when things get crazy, the market dictates it, really.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously there's a lot going on between, I mean, we just mentioned a few things. I mean, we've seen now other central banks starting to cut interest rates, which is obviously putting public pressure on the Federal Reserve to do it. And then what we're seeing in our own situation, I mean, we have the election time period. We mentioned the Fed. The election, I think, is going to play into a lot of this, being that it looks like crypto is actually one of the topics that is important to people, and it will be discussed, and it has been discussed for the basically the first time in history, which is really interesting. So there's so many different things at play. I like the fact that you're kind of giving us different positions on which way things can go depending on how things pan out in certain angles, because there's so much happening. And me and Blood have talked about the end of the dollar dominance, the hegemony of the dollar, which is starting to come, and it's obviously going to take time. It's not going to be like an overnight thing. When we went from the pound sterling to the US dollar with the Bretton Woods Agreement, it wasn't as if the next day the pound sterling was devalued. So a lot of people are just speculating and putting out all this BS narrative that the dollar is going to crash.
What are your thoughts on this fake new, I don't know if you want to call it misinformation or disinformation, but this whole article that came out saying that Saudi now is no longer they didn't renew their contract and blah blah blah.
But Blood, based on what you said though about the US being the largest oil producer now, which I wasn't aware of, makes sense. We don't need Saudi Arabia's oil like we did.
But the agreement never existed, right? It's like where the hell did this come from? And
have you ever looked into this, Gareth, whether or not there actually is a signed document between the president and someone from Saudi Arabia in regards to a petrodollar agreement?
So I honestly haven't. I haven't looked into that enough. You guys probably have a lot more information on that than I do. But honestly, it wouldn't shock me overall, to be honest. I do think that the dominance of oil is starting to kind of fade a little bit. I think there was just a report that came out that by 2030, we would start to see less and less oil used in the US as well as around the world. And we still have a ton of supply here. But yeah, I mean, either way, by the way, and this is a great point. Do you guys see what Saudi Arabia is doing? They're already planning for this. They already understand the writings on the wall and that they can't be all about oil. Mm-hmm. What they're doing is, number one, they're selling huge chunks of Saudi Aramco to foreign investors. So they're basically selling off some of that main company. And they're also going into other things like have you guys seen the sporting events they're bringing over there? They're trying to make their economy diversified. It's actually a genius move, and it's something that they realize they have to do. But they understand the outcome is, whether it's 5, 10, 20 years from now, that oil dominance is no longer going to be the power that it once was.
Yeah, times are changing, and that's the interesting thing too about like where we're at with the monetary system, because the coming CBDC system that's on the way is not quite ready, and that's why I think they keep prolonging and keeping this thing on life support.
Yeah, no, 100% there. So I think there's so, I mean, this is what's so remarkable. We live in this period where things are so global. I mean, you have what's going on in France right now, which a lot of people, I mean, this is another thing that most retail, because the narrative in the media, they don't talk about this on social media. It's mostly focusing on the main stories, but France is going through something right now that is political, but it has repercussions on how much debt that they have, to the point that the EU even came out and said, hey, listen, France, get your debt under control. And the EU realizes that if France goes, they're the first domino, and it will go to all of the countries in Europe, essentially then spilling over into countries like the US and around the world. And so this is what the point I've been making so much is that we are in such a global economy that is so leveraged from every point of view that one domino goes and everything can go in a split second. And that's the thing that, I mean, who cares
But
about
that's
Nvidia
not
when,
good for
no,
Bitcoin, though, in the short run,
in
I
the
think.
short run, it's not, but in the long run, it reinforces the need for something like Bitcoin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the
So
narrative of
I guess the point we should all make is
scarcity.
that, you know, you're right. Is it possible we could see Bitcoin cut in half if something like this happens because of panic? Absolutely. But then have some money on the side where you could just buy it up. Right?
Exactly. Got to have some dry powder, guys.
Yeah.
Especially in these days. Interesting times ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into any other charts with the Bitcoin stuff, as far as what is your long-term prediction for this market, for a price range and a time frame of hitting all-time highs before we start to enter into what we consider to be a traditional bear market and correct?
So that's a good question. And this is where it gets tricky, and we kind of just talked about it, right? Is that my biggest concern and my only issue with Bitcoin is that I worry, like we just talked about, that if the stock market sees a massive correction, let's say 20-30% drop, kind of what we saw in 2022, which you could argue wasn't even that big of a bear market versus 2008 or 09. But if that does happen, I do think that Bitcoin could see well below 50,000 in that scenario. So even like, let's just say the stock market is topping now with Nvidia, we could be looking at the 73.9 area as being a high for this cycle. Now, granted, this doesn't match up with the cycles that we know of before, but at least in the next 12 months, it could be a high pivot. Now, once we kick the can down the road and maybe get into 2025 and mid 2025, that's where I think people will more and more adopt the digital gold aspect and see that the government is not, you know, and again, I don't care necessarily who's in the White House. Politicians aren't motivated to cut spending because it hurts their chances of being reelected. It's just the nature of our political system. So you have to say that the more spending that comes in, the more Federal Reserve intervention, the bigger their balance sheet gets, the more likely Bitcoin in 2025 and beyond does make new all-time highs. It's just, again, in terms of pinpointing the time frame, man, that's so hard to do.
Well, and I'm not asking you to give me a date. I'm just
Yeah.
asking you to kind of give me a time frame, because the reason I'm asking this ultimately to kind of go back with the waters above thing, when we talk about solar and lunar cycles, not just the activity of the moon, but the solar and lunar cycles, which last for multiple years each.
Right.
He's calling, based off of his research of how this works, for the end of the solar cycle to be, I believe he said March-ish of 2025. I'm not sure the specific time frame, but March of 2025 would be the end of, let's say, the solar cycle, which would put us, like, let's say we topped out with Bitcoin. Let's say the markets remain nice because we're in an election and they're trying to make everything look good. And that's kind of what I think is going to happen.
I do too.
I think they're going to paint everything over until after the election, and 2025 is going to be shit. And after March would make sense, because then if we hit, let's say we hit October, November, early December, all-time highs of Bitcoin, and then we start going into an altcoin rally that fades out in March, that would make
so this is the thing that concerns me, because Waters Above gave us a statistic that I didn't know about until he said that, Rice, that every cycle top for Bitcoin occurs in the fourth quarter. So I'm like, oh shit, man! Like
unless this time is different, and
this time is different.
The 73 area was the all-time high, which some people are calling that could be the top.
I know. So I'm just wondering. I agree. Like, I just see, them rug pulling Trump. If he gets in, they're just gonna let this bad boy fall. Like all breaks off. They're just going to let this thing loose if he wins. And that would coincide with the top of this cycle being, fourth quarter, or maybe even right here where we are, 73,000. So I don't know, man. It's a little concerning geopolitically.
It is. There's no doubt about it in terms of, how things play out. And I'm very curious. It's nice to see the politicians warming up to Bitcoin and crypto overall. I just have this natural skepticism with politicians that it's, to get some votes, and then we'll really see the truth when whoever's in office is in office. But yeah, I mean, the one positive on Bitcoin, I will say, is that you do have this channel. So a parallel channel with these highs and this low. And so maybe we bottom out around here. And if we can ever break out above this, I do think this, and I'll make this one prediction. whenever we break out above this 71 to 74,000 area, I actually think we do go to 100,000 at that point. So I think that would be the one thing I would say. I don't know when we're going to do it. I don't know when we'll break out above that, but when it does happen, I do think we head to 100,000.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, yeah, we're going to hit over 100,000. I mean, especially if we're zooming out on things. But again, I think this up through the election time period, I think everything is going to be all hunky dory because they want people to be in a good mood. They want people to vote. They want you to vote for them. So, especially Biden.
Yeah. So one other thing, and I'm a big data nerd and like chart nerd, but I just want to show you guys something that I love is that, so the first high in 2021 was around 65,000, 64, 65. We then had 69 and change, or it's about 69. So there's about a $4,000 to $5,000 difference between this high and this high. And then if you take this high and add 5,000, you get 74,000. So it's just kind of a little weird. Just think about that in terms of how strange that is. Each high has been approximately $4,000 to $5,000 higher than the previous high. Wow.
It's a lot of things have changed since even 9 months ago when you were on with Rice, but a year in a month with me. We didn't have Bitcoin ETFs. We didn't have Ethereum ETFs now coming on board. Talk to us about that whole scenario and situation. How does that play into potential Bitcoin price projections?
Yeah, so I think there's no doubt that the ETFs help the adoption. It makes people feel more comfortable. I know that, one of even my big concerns is, having a lot of money in a crypto portfolio and knowing that if someone somehow gets in it and takes it, it's gone, right? Versus in a stock account, at least you're insured based on the FDIC. So I think that's helpful. A lot of you guys are more advanced than me, and you take it offline, and you have your wallets and so forth that are offline. But I'm not that advanced, and a lot of people out there that are normal investors just aren't at that level yet. So the ETFs are an absolute positive. There's no doubt about it. I do also think though that the ETFs can also cause more, like there's a lot of people that buy into Bitcoin via ETFs that probably are not the hodler group, right? Like they could just be the trader group or the shorter term investor group. So it does create a little bit more give and take with upswings and downswings in Bitcoin. And it also when Ethereum comes out, that will be as well.
That's the point that I was coming to as well, is that these new class of investors, if you want to call them that, that's coming into Bitcoin in the spot ETF, they're not used to a 10% swing in a week.
And then we see a huge there was a huge outflow recently.
Yeah, there's been 2 consecutive weeks of over $500 million. I think
there was a nice inflow yesterday.
Okay.
And they're jittery, right? I mean, these are people that probably don't know a lot other than they heard their buddy talking about it or their son was talking about it or whatever. And so, when it drops like it has from the highs, they're much quicker to pull the trigger and exit versus sticking with it and saying, oh, don't worry, I think it'll be okay, because they just don't understand it enough.
Agreed. If you guys are watching on the X side on mine or Blood's, we're live streaming on both of our X accounts, both of our YouTube channels, and my Rumble. We have links down below for each other's channel. If you'll take an opportunity to smash that like button, greatly appreciate it. I'll hand it back over to you, Blood, if you got any more questions.
Yeah, just Mr. Tequila wanted to ask a very, very important question. Has anyone accidentally said the new name? Yes, sir. You missed the intro. we said the name a few times, so we got that out the way. I
was gonna jokingly change his name on here, but I decided.
Don't.
I decided against it, but
don't do our buddy like that.
But he's cool with it, so we'll just do it. We'll share it one more again. So just enjoy the Gareth Soloway.
There you go.
So another concern. I'm sounding like Gareth Soloway here because I'm serious. Like, I'm a little concerned, serious, bro. I'm a little concerned because the last time I had Gareth on, he said something, and I'll just go ahead and play this clip, and then we'll talk about meme coin. So let's play this clip, Rice, really quickly.
I will. I'm going to pull it up real quick. We got roughly a little over 10 minutes to be conscious of time.
Gotcha.
The bottom line is we just are looking at various signals that historically have told us things. When you see gambling. It's not investing. No one's getting into Pepe saying, hey, I'm going to hold this because it's going to be the best quality coin out there. They're getting in it because they think that they can just sell it to someone else at a higher price. And we're seeing so many meme coins, like everyone on Twitter. What's the next meme? Where do I get in? Where do I just throw some money to try to make 1,000%? Not healthy, not good for a market. And show me one bottom of a market historically, whether it's crypto stocks or commodities, that has actually showed that type of speculation. You can't find it.
If you want to. Yeah. So we had that again, Gareth.
Yeah,
this,
man.
This cycle, man, that was a year and a month ago. Wow. We had another meme cycle, and this is what the ice on the cake for me. We had the celebrity memes. That I'm like, oh shit, man, this might be the end of all ends. This,
Gareth, what do you know about? What do you know about this?
Oh my lord! I need to see
not that. Coochie. Oh man. So what do you like? Again, is that another signal for us? Where we had these celebrity meme coins, they went crazy, and you know, what are your take?
That usually is a signal.
That is usually a signal.
It is.
That
it
usually
is those type
signal.
of things. And remember, the stock market, we just had GameStop running, AMC running. They all ran recently. I mean, these are not signs of a bull market that's just getting started, unfortunately. And I think investors just have to recognize that. And if you look at a lot of, I mean, look at Cardano, man, that thing has just gotten crushed. It's upticking a little bit. I'm actually long, believe it or not, with members, but ultimately, there's so many of these altcoins that are just getting trounced recently, down 50% from where they were in March. And again, the question has to be asked: did they ever get their bull market? Right? I mean, yeah, they had a big run, but none of them really took.
No, because I think a lot of that money, a lot of those that money went into meme coins. Meme coins stole the show.
Yep.
I was talking to someone about that the other day. I literally think that a lot of that liquidity went into the meme coins and skipped over the traditional altcoins, layer 1s and 2s and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, man.
I agree. So I think what we take from this is that I think Bitcoin is short-term vulnerable, but ultimately it's the one that's made a new all-time high. It's the one that has the ETF. It's the one institutions are adopting. And even if it goes down, at least I think everyone here on this panel, we all believe that eventually it goes much, much higher. The altcoins are trickier, right? I mean, new technologies replacing some of the other ones. And those are the ones that are much more gambler-oriented. And then the meme coins, I mean, heck, that's like a scratch off lottery ticket, right?
That is what it is. That's a good way of putting it too, because that's all it is gambling. It's like buying 10 lottery tickets and hoping that one of them, at least maybe 2 or 3, that'd be great. And at least one of them pays off more than you spent buying the 10 tickets.
You know what reminds me of the lottery too with the meme coins is that you always hear about that one guy that bought Doge and made like 100 million%. But that's like the same as that one guy that won like $500 million in the lottery. And we all play it because of that, even though it was one guy out of like hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's just, it's selling the dream, right? The meme coins sell the dream of 1,000% profit in a couple days. While in reality, you know, smart money is, we know institutional money is not playing the meme coins, right? They're going to Bitcoin. That's where they're going.
Now, as reluctant as I am, I mean, I do want you to finish up with Cardano, but before we do wrap up and before we talk about how people can learn from you and join verifiedinvesting.com, I'd like to look at Solana. I hate saying that, but I'd actually like to look at Solana after you're done talking. Were you done talking about Cardano?
Yeah. So Cardano's into some support in this range at 35, 36 cents. Again, it's one of those that I traded as a swing trade. I'm not a long-term hodler of that one. Really, Bitcoin's the only one I have faith in that I feel like I can really tuck money away in. But looking at Solana, I mean, it did hit some support right down here. We've gotten a nice little bounce here. This is another one that I am short-term on the long side with. And we could just see that basically it's very defined, right? As long as this 120 level holds, you're good to go here. But if 120 breaks, there's really no major support until you get down to about $100. So again, whether you're a bull or a bear on this, just understand what the levels are telling us. Bullish above 120, but if it breaks 120, you're likely headed to 100.
Now, Gareth, I will say that when the FTX crash situation happened and Solana like went down, I think $15, maybe $10. I'm not exactly sure of the low price, somewhere in that range. You were definitely encouraging people to buy at that price. And I know that with what you do, you have a track record to show your proven track record. So even if you make a call saying that you're calling for Bitcoin to go sub 10K and it doesn't happen, your track record speaks for itself.
Yeah, and that's because I'm a nimble trader, right? So traders have to be able to see when the chart changes and says, hey, you're wrong, then you're wrong. And you have to adjust. And you may short higher and then make a quick move. But definitely, and I still remember that. And, this is the difference between a trader in the equity markets. When I was up, I think on that trade, we were long around $10 on Solana, and we probably sold around 14 or 15. And that's like in the stock market, you're a hero. Like, that's like, wow. In the crypto markets, they're like, oh my God, you only made like 30, 40%. What a wuss, like it's just, but that's what I've come up as. Like, I'm an equity trader. I just rinse and repeat over and over again. I'm not a hodler. I don't go for the $1,000 or the 1,000% gains. And it's just the difference in style of trading, I guess.
And also, the more money you have, the less you need the 1,000.
Right. That's
right.
True.
So if you only put $1 in it, $1.50 in there, then yeah, buddy, you need the 1,000.
Roll the dice, yeah.
You need the 1,000.
Dollar scratch off, baby.
As far as
dollar scratch off,
I'm pretty sure T will realize that we're realists here, and we're not gonna bullshit people when it comes to what we think with the market. The only capitulation that I actually see happening is the miners right now, which is why the price of Bitcoin needs to remain at a certain level, which I believe is above the 50K price for it to remain profitable for the miners. So
yeah.
This is what's all been programmed in. Did you have any other coins that you wanted to ask about, Blood?
No, not really. That's pretty much it. It's been a very informative conversation we've had. We got to do this more often. And I think behind before we went live, right? So we're going to have to go down and see Gareth and Cardone and Crow. Everyone's in Florida, Tampa area.
Bitcoin Ben, Crypto Lifer, Crypto Crow, Soloway.
Yeah.
There's also, so Bitcoin Ben has his crypto club, and then there's, I think if it's still going on, it's somewhere in Tampa there is, and I've seen it. It's a coin flip has like a little meeting place where people can gather, and there's like a shop and stuff like that too.
So we're gonna rent a limo, and Rice and I are just gonna be in the back like this, doing this all around Tampa.
Nice.
We got Hulk Hogan's down there too, man.
That's right, man.
No, Hulk Hogan is in Tampa
for me over here.
Oh my God!
I think he's in Clearwater. He has a club.
Yeah,
he has a club, and he has like beach stores.
Well, we're gonna be doing the tour, Gareth. We're gonna
nice, man. We'll get a boat. We'll take out a little yacht action. Get on the water.
There we go,
here, man. It'll be fun.
There we go.
That'd be beautiful. Let me go ahead and get this pulled up on stage. I got your after you bounce, Gareth, me and Blood will wrap up the stream. So hang on with me, Blood. But we're gonna go ahead and give Gareth a chance here to talk about what he does with verifiedinvesting.com. Before we do that, though, tell me what happened with consolidating. Oh, you got your stuff. I actually have the website pulled up right here as well. So did you want me to pull up your link, or doesn't
matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
But yeah, in regards to basically, I had in the money stocks, which was stocks oriented, right? And then I had verified investing crypto. And then the idea is I wanted to form a website where we actually bring in some of the great minds of trading, not just Gareth, right? I don't like the fact that I'm the center of attention, as weird as that sounds. In real life, I'm a little more on the shy side. And so the idea is there's so many good investors, traders, and people with knowledge like you guys that I wanted to create a place where everyone can come. And when investors come, they get quality, data-driven information, chart-driven information, not narratives, not hype, not BS. And essentially, that's what verified investing is. So I do have my services on there. I have the stock one, the commodity one, and the crypto one. We have educational courses, but ultimately we brought in new traders. We're still looking for active, really good quality, high traders as well. And we want to build out a network of kind of the best of breed here. So anyways, that's kind of a summary of what it is. And that homepage alone, I made that homepage because it's everything that I used to go to so many different websites to find. Mm-hmm. Like if you scroll down on that website, you'll see economic data charts. You'll see earnings calendars, economic calendars, heat maps on crypto as well as stocks. The fear and greeds, all of that stuff is there, which is all the stuff I literally used to go to like 10 websites to find. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just put it on freaking one website. So at least I have it there for myself and everyone else has it there. So it's all free on the homepage. And for really, I just want to make a place for people to find what they need to find, not like CNBC and all this other junk out there.
I'll also encourage people to make sure that they subscribe to your YouTube channel. We got links down below in the video description for all this. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Blood?
No, that's it, man. Appreciate your time, Gareth, and we definitely have to do this again.
Yeah, please do. Please reach out in a few months, because I always honestly have a great discussion with you guys. You guys are like the dudes that I wish you guys lived next door. We'd be hanging out all the time.
Well, I mean, I told you, once it starts cooling down here, I'm going to start looking towards the end of summertime at looking, because I really would like to move to Florida and the Clearwater.
Prices are coming down now. Just give it another 6 to 8 months. I think you'll get a sweet deal.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. So definitely looking forward to it. Thanks again, my friend. And we have links down below. Thanks again. And
thanks,
have
Gareth.
a good one.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right.
Shout out to Gareth Soloway.
Yeah, man.
He's a good sport, man. He's a good sport. I'm glad that he didn't get mad about this.
Yeah. No. He knows how we are.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that was a good job, man. You should become a graphic designer now.
Yeah, I mean, I might do better than what I do with YouTube, considering that YouTube is like, I'm like negative growth. I'm actually less subscribers than I am now than I was the end of 2022.
Great job.
Since I talked to you and shared, because the last time we talked about it publicly, I was at 31,990.
Okay.
And I've shared screenshots with you, but that was like 3 weeks ago. I mentioned that, and it might have been a stream with Seth potentially. But today, right now, I'm at 31,894. So it's almost 100 less than the last time it's 96 minus since the last time I said something verbally on the channel. So in 3 weeks, they've unsubscribed 96 people.
We know what's going on with YouTube. They've got us in the borderline content.
But my Rumble's growing.
Rumble's growing. X is growing. Shout out to all those platforms.
X. So right now, we're about evened up on the numbers because he undid the retweet of your stream and then retweeted mine. I don't know why I couldn't just get both retweets, but you have 1,200, over 1,200, and I have over 1,200 on X.
Oh, nice.
I have 19 on YouTube, and you have 37.
Yeah.
So shout out to those 50-something people on YouTube watching, and shout out to those couple thousand that are watching.
The party is over on X, guys. If you didn't know, you might want to just go on over there. You're going to see a lot of more people.
It does suck, man. It does suck, but it is what it is. So,
no, I'm not complaining. We know what's up. So.
And I'm sorry. I wanted to apologize. I know you've been busy about slamming this thing on live, because I know we were going to put this thing out privately and then release it. But I figured with the market being the way it is, if we released it tomorrow, it could have been outdated.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we did live. It's less work for us. Next time, maybe we'll do a pre-record for my YouTube premium members, but my premium members are getting a lot out of making $50, $100 a week, potentially.
Yeah. And
I'm giving away. So it's all good.
We can also, we can look at a few things, because I may do something with the subscriber side on YouTube and membership thing. So maybe we can do something to do a special live stream or something like that.
Yeah.
A couple times a month, just for the members. So I think there's some things that we can definitely talk about, because I'm basically, like I've told you, I'm going to try to give this one last real push and trying to break out of the shadows. Otherwise, I'm just going to focus on the non-crypto content side of things and just keep rolling. But this was the exact reason that I started back in 2020. Started to expand and change the channel, add that stranger than fiction element, and then later that year in 2020 rebrand from Rice Crypto to Rice TVX, because I just kept the whole idea of what was happening was just disheartening, because I was interviewing so many important people, and at the time I don't think I had over 3,000 subscribers before I started to expand out the content in other areas, which helped me to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad that anything said something about this, because we actually are. Maybe we can join 10 minutes early, because it starts at 9, and then just have a little powwow before we
yeah. Yeah, I'm with it. So
and
we are
waiting
covering the debate tomorrow, ladies and gents. It's going to be uncensored, right? It's not going to be on YouTube.
I think they're streaming it on YouTube.
No, I'm saying are we going to stream?
We don't have to. It's
I
up
don't
to
want
you.
to. I want this to be raw.
Okay, then what I think we should do is push people like we had before to
we'll do that.
Our Rumble and X accounts. And we're waiting to hear back from Seth whether he's going to join us, because we're not able to do a proper Wise Man Wednesday.
No Wise Men episode today.
What's a J Snip spot?
I don't know. I didn't
Snippy's,
know Twill knew about J Snip.
But Snippy's a mutual friend of ours.
He is?
Well, he's a friend of mine. He's not. You don't know him?
Not a friend of mine.
I figured you knew him because of the Cliff High stuff.
Yeah, I know him, but
no, he's a cool dude. I mean, he brought me on back in 2019 when I was trying to expose that scam of Bitcointopia.
All right, cool.
So he helped me to have a bigger audience to share that with, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, we are definitely doing coverage of the. I saw the word polytainment on Valuetainment. Like politics, entertainment, polytainment. So we're going to be covering the presidential debate tomorrow. It starts 9:00 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll probably go live like 8:45, 8:50, but we'll schedule it probably early tomorrow, but we're definitely going to be doing it. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think we have anything mutually scheduled. So I'm going to try to make sure we get everything running for next Wednesday with me, you, and Seth. I have another interview I'm recording in like an hour and 40 minutes, and then I've got a meeting after that. So it's just been a crazy day.
David Brumbelow says Hotep Jesus' first day on Rumble about a year ago was his most profitable day on any platform.
I meant to tell you, have you gotten paid yet from Rumble? I did get one. I did get one payment. It was like $100 and something.
Nope. Haven't gotten
have
paid.
Have you reached a threshold of any amount?
Nope, I don't think so. But Hotep, I've had Hotep on
good luck.
The House of Coochie spaces for Coochie Coin a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about Rumble not being so friendly towards him either.
Now, I don't know that if Snippy's gotten involved with that fake Charles Ward. I'm not even going to get
Mr. X just saying
yeah, I know, but I mean, if he is, that's ridiculous, and I've already like debunked Charlie Ward shit, helped debunk that a couple years ago, and all these like Q-tubers and Q-tards and Kool-Aid drinkers are like obsessed with this fake Dr. Charlie Ward. That's actually how I got the nickname American Pitbull, because he told me.
I thought you got the name from the Jerry Springer episode. You want to throw that in there real quick?
I will in a second, but I will. I want to anticipate this, but I will say it was Charlie Ward, because he ended up blocking me on social media and WhatsApp. And then we reconnected and did an interview. In the interview, he said I could have either blocked you on social media or sent people to your house. And I told him I would have had fun with that. And then, but he nicknamed me the American Pitbull, called me the American Pitbull, saying that I was relentless and I would not stop.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool. I'll take that as a badge. And so with that being said, enjoy this for a moment.
Bravo. Love it. You got to love it, ladies and gents.
Yeah, it's classic. Eventually, the whole thing will get shared. Have you seen the Hawk Tour real quick, man?
The what?
The Hawk Tour.
No.
This thing has went very, very viral. Let me find the clip.
Jerry.
So it was part of a 4-minute interview, but they took this clip and it's like less than the actual clip is less than 18 seconds, but this is 18 seconds of it, and this thing went hugely viral, dude. So if you see the words hawk and TUAH, Hawk Tua, there's like Hawk Tua for president, Hawk Tua 2024. This is what it is, and it is so glorious that this has went viral, because I think it's a good thing, because I think it's going to help the men and the women of the world.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
My God! I think you gotta demonstrate.
Hawk too and spit on it. Spit on it.
That is
my God. Oh, that is too funny, bro.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't seen it. I'm really surprised. This thing has been viral for over a week, and I haven't seen a clip like that.
Hilarious, bro.
So there is a Hawk Tua on, looks, I guess, PLS, Pulse Chain. So yeah, they're making thousands on the shirts. It is crazy.
Oh my God. Well, sorry the soundboard wasn't working today, guys. I don't know. I have to double check what happened.
I was wondering, because I didn't hear no clapping and none of that.
I've been doing it all this time, so in vain. But look, you guys, we got about 1,400 people. Well, you got about 1,400 on your side.
The total right now, we have over 2,700 people watching.
Listen, all 2,700 of you on X, go follow us.
On X is 2,700.
Follow us right now for more interviews like this, because we know a lot of people and we're going to bring them to you on X. So you want to be tuned in, you want to be locked in with that.
So if you guys are watching on the right side, make sure you're following Crypto Blood at Crypto Blood _ link is down below in the video description. If you're watching over on the Blood side, make sure you're following me on the X at RiceTVX down below in the video description as well. Make sure you subscribe to both of our YouTube channels, both of our Rumbles. We're going to be doing it live tomorrow.
That coochie. Hot tour of that coochie, ladies and gentlemen.
Spit on it. Spit on it. Yeah, that's got to be used in some fashion. That's why I was sharing it with you. So, the whole time I thought that I had the screen share actually going. So I will repeat myself. If you guys are watching on the right side on X, be sure to follow Crypto Blood at Crypto Blood _ right here. And if you guys happen to be watching on the Blood side, make sure you're following me on the X at RiceTVX. Subscribe to both of our YouTube channels. Subscribe to both of our Rumbles. Yeah, smash that like button again. Repost so we can get more eyes on this. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you,
bro. Play that track.
We will. We have to talk about this a little bit more too.
Yes.
And that may be a possibility. So just stay tuned for that, and be staying tuned for the fact that we're going to be going live tomorrow on our Rumble and X. We will put up a placeholder video to push people over to Rumble and X about 8:45, 8:50 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So be on the lookout. We're going to be covering that presidential debate. It's either going to be hilariously funny or it's just going to be an awful fail. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, it's going to be great for us Trump supporters.
We'll see. No audience.
No audience.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Oh my God, you got to be kidding me, bro.
And I think RFK is holding a debate afterwards, but I'm like, doesn't there have to be other people involved? Can you have a one-man debate?
Oh my God. Is this what we've come to?
I think so.
I think so. It's unfortunate.
It's a good ride out. Shout out to Seth from Mind Your Biz for creating this awesome AI-oriented created song using artificial intelligence on the interwebs, the AIs on the interwebs.
You heard that one, didn't you?
It out. What?
Did you hear the gunshot?
Do it again. Yeah, I heard that.
All right, we back in business, baby.
We back. Oh, I heard clapping.
Yeah, we're back.
We're going to ride out, ladies and gentlemen. Again, smash that like button. We appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for giving us your time. It is your most valuable asset. Thank you for sharing.
Rice TVX, the Mike's live wire. American Pitbull, real gold buyer. Sound money advocate, Rice defender. In the crypto arena, he's the top contender. From the gritty streets of the digital age, Rice lays wisdom, chapter and page. Silver, gold, he sports only the bold. Land, life, and liberty, these values hold.
Be a blessing to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. Be the glitch you want to see in the matrix. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Constitution, deep dive, knowledge revival. Navigate the system, critical for survival. Rights engraved like inscriptions on metal. Pitbull in the game, lead foot on the pedal. Land acquirer, a strategic mind. In the fight for freedom, he's frontline. Educate on rights, the law he'll explain. Chris writes the Pitbull, breaking the chain.
Question everything. Know yourself. Until next time, holla.
In the arena where truths collide. Rights TVX, the certified guide. Silver and gold, land and rights. American Pitbull in the freedom fights. In a world of chaos, he's the calm in the storm. Teaching the masses, ready to inform. Keys to crypto, rights we cherish. His wisdom lights paths that others perish. Guardian of wealth, from digital to ancient. His legacy crafted, fearless and patient.
That's called a blood effect. Doing it live. We're doing it for you, Hulk Hogan.